Welcome to today's Blueprint News. Today, we're bringing you an in-depth look at the top 2026 governor races across the United States. From tight battlegrounds to states that are leaning heavily toward one party, we'll break down the numbers, the candidates, and what these forecasts could mean as we move closer to Election Day. Let's get started. Michigan is shaping up to be one of the most competitive governor races of 2026. Democratic Governor Jocelyn Benson holds a slight edge at 50.6%, while Republican challenger John James is close behind at 49.4%. This razor-thin margin shows Michigan remains a true swing state where small shifts in voter turnout could decide the outcome. Analysts are watching key urban centers like Detroit and Ann Arbor, as well as suburban counties, to see which way they will tip the balance. Every vote counts in Michigan, making this a state to watch closely. In Arizona, Democrats appear to have a stronger position. Governor Katie Hobbs is leading with a 68.4% chance of winning against Republican Andy Biggs at 31.6%. Arizona, which has been trending purple in recent elections, seems to be leaning Democratic in the governor's race. Analysts credit this lead to Hobbs' appeal among urban voters in Phoenix and Tucson, along with strong performance among Latino communities across the state. Still, Biggs cannot be counted out entirely, especially in rural areas where Republican support remains strong. California is virtually locked for Democrats. They hold a 96.2% chance of retaining the governor's office, while Republicans are down at 3.8%. With Democrats dominating both urban and suburban areas, along with the state's massive population centers like Los Angeles and San Francisco, this race is not expected to be competitive. The challenge for Republicans is overcoming the deep Democratic registration advantage and the state's progressive policy landscape. Minnesota also leans heavily Democratic in 2026. Governor Tim Walz has a 90.1% chance of re-election, while Republican Scott Jensen is trailing at 9.9%. Minnesota has a history of competitive races, but Walz's popularity and effective handling of statewide issues have given him a commanding lead. Key regions like Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Duluth are expected to deliver strong Democratic support, while rural areas remain Republican strongholds, though not enough to close the gap this cycle. Florida tells a very different story. Republican Byron Donalds is leading with 77%, while Democrat David Jolly is at 23%. Florida remains a GOP stronghold in this governor's race, with strong support from conservative voters across suburban and rural counties. Key areas such as Miami-Dade and Broward County will be watched for Democratic turnout, but current polling shows the Republicans in a dominant position. Florida continues to be one of the most important battlegrounds nationally, but this governor race favors the GOP. Massachusetts is heavily Democratic, with Governor Maura Healey holding a staggering 98.7% chance of winning. Republicans only have a 1.3% chance, making this one of the safest Democratic states in the country. Urban centers like Boston, Worcester, and Cambridge provide overwhelming support, and Healey's policies on healthcare, education, and climate have resonated with voters across the state. In New York, Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul maintains a strong lead at 92.5% compared to Elise Stefanik's 7.5%. New York's Democratic dominance is reinforced by voter registration advantages in New York City and other urban areas, along with strong statewide infrastructure and campaign operations. Republicans face an uphill battle in nearly every corner of the state, with only some upstate counties providing meaningful opposition. Ohio is leaning Republican this cycle. Vivek Ramaswamy has a 70% chance of winning, while Democrat Amy Acton trails at 30%. Ohio has been trending red in recent elections, and Ramaswamy's campaign has mobilized strong support in suburban and rural areas. Key Democratic areas like Cleveland and Columbus may provide resistance, but overall, Republicans are projected to maintain control in the governor's race. Pennsylvania is firmly in Democratic hands. Governor Josh Shapiro holds a 95.7% chance of winning, leaving Republican Stacey Garrity at just 4.3%. Pennsylvania Democrats are benefiting from strong performance in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and other urban centers, along with continued support from suburban voters. Republicans have limited chances unless they can dramatically increase turnout in traditionally Democratic areas, which seems unlikely at this point.
Tennessee strongly favors Republicans in 2026. Marsha Blackburn holds a 95.6% chance of winning, while Democrat Jerry Green is at 4.4%. Tennessee has a long history of Republican dominance in statewide races, with conservative policies resonating in rural and suburban areas. Democrats face an uphill battle, and this race is expected to be another GOP hold.
Alabama's governor race is also dominated by Republicans. Tommy Tuberville leads with a 91.8% chance, while Democrat Doug Jones trails at 8.2%. Republicans have solid support across the state, particularly in rural counties, while Democrats are concentrated in urban centers like Birmingham and Montgomery. Alabama is a clear example of a Republican stronghold in 2026. Oklahoma is firmly in Republican hands as well. Gettner Drummond has a 95.2% chance of winning against Democrat Cindy Munson at 4.8%. Oklahoma's rural conservative base ensures Republican dominance, and Democrats face significant structural challenges in statewide elections. In South Carolina, Attorney General Alan Wilson leads the race with 83.8%, while Democrats are at 16.2%. South Carolina remains a Republican stronghold, with support concentrated in rural areas, suburbs, and key cities like Charleston. Democratic voters exist primarily in urban pockets, but statewide, the GOP is in command. Nevada remains competitive, though it leans Republican. Joseph Lombardo holds 61% of the projected support, compared to Democrat Aaron Ford at 39%. Nevada's mix of urban and rural voters, particularly in Las Vegas and Reno, makes this an interesting race to watch. Democrats may still have opportunities in urban centers, but the GOP has the edge in the current forecast. Rhode Island is heavily Democratic. Helena Foulkes has an 85.7% chance of winning, while Republicans are at 14.3%. Rhode Island's Democratic dominance is reinforced by strong urban support in Providence and surrounding areas, making this a relatively safe blue state for 2026. Georgia shows a Democratic lead in 2026, with Keisha Lance Bottoms at 57.3%, while Republican Burt Jones is at 42.7%. Georgia has been a battleground state in recent years, and while Bottoms leads, the margin is narrow enough that voter turnout and campaign strategies will be critical in deciding the final outcome. Suburban counties around Atlanta will be especially important. Finally, Wisconsin is another competitive race. Mandela Barnes leads with 52.8% over Republican Tom Tiffany at 47.2%. Wisconsin remains a key swing state, and every region, from Milwaukee to Madison, as well as rural areas, could influence the final result. This race is expected to be closely watched nationwide. As we can see, the 2026 governor races are a mix of safe seats and battlegrounds. States like California, Massachusetts, and New York are solidly Democratic, while Alabama, Tennessee, and Oklahoma lean heavily Republican. Meanwhile, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia remain competitive and could play a key role in shaping the national political landscape. Stay tuned to today's Blueprint News for ongoing updates, analysis, and insights. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Tell us which governor race you'll be following closely in 2026